So how long did it take you? You had a direct flight from Peru to Canada?
No, we took a flight with I don't know how to say it. I think
Hmm. Connecting
excuse
flights?
yeah, connected with Panama,
Uh,
Peru to Panama,
uh,
and Panama to Toronto, Canada.
right,
Yeah,
right, right. And how
yeah.
long were you in the flight? How many?
Peru to Panama 3 hours, and Panama to Canada 6.
So basically, maybe you
Nine.
celebrated your Christmas in Peru, and next day you took the flight,
Yeah, and the 25th.
25th itself.
Yeah, in the morning, and then we arrived the 26th. It's 5 a.m. here.
Ah, right.
5, 6, yeah.
So interesting. Finally, a new lifestyle.
Yes.
So every Christmas will bring you guys back the memory of, leaving Peru and coming to Canada in a way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If it was
Yeah.
just another day, it would be easy to forget. But
Mm-hmm.
now that you celebrate Christmas every year, you will remember that as well.
Yeah.
Your social circle has already become, big enough. You talked about that girl from Pakistan as your friend. And Alejandro, how about you? Have you got some good friends there now in Canada?
Yeah, more this year than last year.
Uh,
Mainly because I was so basically because I was so shy last year. I didn't really focus on, and there were many times last year when my English whenever I spoke to someone, um they didn't understand my words or something, and I really felt bad. But I actually focused more on improving my pronunciation and writing skills, and that actually helped me a lot. I actually work hard during summer, and that helped me to make more friends and create some new relationships. Yeah. I really missed staying at my country last year, but this year, yeah, it really changed a lot. I don't really miss my country as I did last year,
absolutely.
and yeah, I have many more friends than last year. It's yeah, it's like a change in my mood. Yeah.
It makes good sense, that first year, first of all, you were away from home for the first time like that, and then not having many friends was not easy either, and then people didn't understand your language, your pronunciation. That must have given you a very, very bad feeling, when you're trying to talk to someone and they don't know what you're saying. Absolutely. It's only gonna get better and better, People say, I've talked to people who have come from different places and live in Australia, Canada, and the US, and they start to consider it home. And you guys are not going to struggle so much to assimilate yourself, to adapt yourself to this new lifestyle, new culture. It's not gonna be that difficult. It's very difficult for some people for some other reasons, but in your case, it's going to be smooth and easy. So I don't know. The other guys are not here yet, and Pankari and Kushi are not here yet either. So looks like it is going to be the two of you today.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess we were we were doing some grammar reference. Let's go to page number 142, as it says here, and see. Okay, let me share my screen. State verbs, yeah, the passive, yeah, got three words here. Hey, Rodrigo,
Hi, teacher.
how are you doing?
I'm fine to say.
Merry Christmas, Rodrigo.
Merry Christmas for you, too, teacher.
Thank you so much. Hello, Pankri.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What time did you wake up? Much earlier or just now?
At 5:45,
My goodness.
something.
My wife woke me up at 4:30. I kind of lost my cool. Her mobile alarm just
Like I woke up, have a warm cup of water, and yeah,
uh,
that's all.
5:40 is good actually. You have 20 minutes to kind of prepare yourself, mentally as well to be in the class. It's not that easy to wake up and just walk into the class. Need to be mentally ready, awake fully. So, yeah, I think I remember talking about the passive form here. I talked about it. Um, be plus past participle, that is passive form, right? Uh, be taken. Were you taken to visit the cathedral? Um, you just follow the tense rules once you understand what the passive form of the verb is. And we need the passive when the focus is on the object, not on the subject of the active sentence. We all know the active sentences, right? So in the active sentence, there is a subject. For example, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, right? Shakespeare wrote Hamlet doesn't confuse anybody. Pankri, you understand Shakespeare wrote Hamlet? But if we are more interested, okay, in Hamlet rather than Shakespeare, we are not interested in Shakespeare. We are more interested in Hamlet. Hamlet is our topic, okay? Then our focus is on the object, and that's why passive sentence will be more preferred here. Hamlet, the most famous play in English literature, was written by William Shakespeare. And look at this one. Shakespeare wrote Hamlet in 1601 while he was living in London. So when you read the first line, you can clearly see the focus is on Shakespeare. We are talking about Shakespeare here, not about Hamlet. Hamlet just came up because we are talking about Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote Hamlet in 1601 while he was living in London. And look at this one. Hamlet, the most famous play in English literature, was written by William Shakespeare. So if somebody asks, you expect to see this line when the topic is Hamlet, and you expect to see this line when the topic is perhaps Shakespeare, okay? So that's what we mean when we say focus, okay? We choose the active or the passive depending on what we are more interested in. This line is very important. And again, if you guys, I think in Hindi, because I speak Hindi as my first language, I've compared Hindi and English so much. I know that, very much it is the same. Like, things that we say in passive in Hindi are said in passive in English as well. Noelia, Rodrigo, Alejandro, Gonzalo, you guys should compare where you use passive in English. Do you use passive in Spanish as well? If yes, good. It's easy. If no, then compare. What's the difference? In English, we use the passive when we are more interested in the object of the active sentence. And point number 2 is very important because at school, students develop this impression that every passive voice sentence will have by and the agent. Actually, some students think a passive voice sentence is a sentence where they see the word by, and that's the problem. By and the agent are often omitted in passive sentences. You don't get to see by and the agent all the time. In natural conversation in English, you do not see by and the agent very often. because the agent is not known in some cases, and the agent is not important in some cases, and the agent is obvious in some cases. That's why we don't have to mention by plus the agent. For example, I was burgled last night. Okay, I was mugged on my way home from work last night. So I was burgled, I was mugged. So somebody did it, but you don't know who that person was. Next, this bridge was built in 1886. Okay, so who built this bridge is not that important. This bridge was built in 1886. And this one, I was fined £100 for speeding. We all know who the person was who fined me. I was fined £100 for speeding by, obviously, the traffic warden, maybe, the department, the authorities. So the point is, there are three cases: either the agent is not known, or the agent is not important, or the agent is obvious. We all heard Osama bin Laden was killed. That is how it was, we were told this news. He has been killed, he has been killed, he has been killed. So who killed him? Okay. So normally this is how you go. But yes, if you need to mention, you can add by and the agent. The passive is associated with an impersonal formal style. Remember, when you use the passive, okay, it can sound impersonal and formal, and that's why it is often used in notices and announcements. At school, we are taught how to write notices and announcements. We try and use the practice passive voice there because it sounds impersonal. Impersonal means nobody is talking about it from their personal point of view. It is how the rule is. Take a look. Customers are requested to refrain from smoking. This is a notice inside a shop. Okay. Now, if the shopkeeper says, I am requesting you to refrain from smoking here. Now, this becomes personal when he puts that I or we. So it's better this way. Customers are requested to refrain from smoking. Pankuri, if you think about it in Hindi also we make requests and announcements and notices like this publicly in passive. If you are at the railway station, people, Rodrigo, Noelia, Alejandro, think about it. When you're at the railway station, okay, and you hear the announcements, what do they say? Passengers are requested to take care of their luggage. Okay, so passive voice is very, very common when you are making announcements, writing notices, Moving on to the next point. In informal language, we can use you, we, and they to refer to people in general to avoid using the passive. And this is something I don't see many people doing, okay? In my own experience, I've not seen many people trying this unless their English is really good. You can buy stamps in lots of shops, but not just post office, or not just post offices. You can buy. This sounds more colloquial than the stamps can be bought in lots of shops, not just post offices. This sounds formal, distant, dry, okay? So when you are having a conversation with someone, a friendly, normal conversation, avoid passive and use such things. You can buy stamps in lots of shops, not just post offices. Some people think you means the person I'm talking to. No, you means people. People can buy stamps in lots of shops, not just post offices. They're building a new department store in the city center. Okay, now this sounds more colloquial than a new department store is being built in the city center. This sounds more like a newspaper, headlines or news, okay? So understand how it sounds when you use the active and how it sounds when you use the passive. We speak English in this shop, okay? More colloquial, okay, than, as notice. This sounds warmer, friendlier, informal, personal, and it's all opposite when you use the passive. Dry. Good morning, Kushi. I'm glad that you woke up early enough to join the class. I wasn't expecting. Many
I
past
woke up at
participants.
4.
Come again?
I woke up at 4, but I have had a
Yeah, obviously, when you don't get enough sleep, that happens. You need sleep, especially when you're used to sleeping your 8 hours. Okay, where were we? Many past participles are used as adjectives. This past participles. A lot of people think, is this a passive voice sentence? I am very interested. Well, the structure definitely suggests that, but here you have to consider interested as an adjective. We were extremely worried. Some people will think, yes, it looks like passive voice, but basically in these sentences, the ed part should be considered an adjective. I'm exhausted. The chairs are broken. Where are we supposed to sit? The chairs are broken. Where are we supposed to sit? So the chairs are broken. This is not a passive voice sentence. You have to understand broken as an adjective. However, the chairs were broken. Okay, that's also the same. But the context changes, and the same words, the chairs were broken, can mean a passive voice sentence. Okay, the audience got angry. They started, creating a ruckus there. The chairs were broken. The guests were assaulted. Things like this. Okay. Now here in this context, it sounds like a passive voice sentence. So if you guys value the context, you will not feel confused about where this ed is an adjective and where it is passive voice. Okay, passive. Well, the uses are the same, okay? You don't have to learn anything new. For example, the present simple is used to talk about repeated actions, habits, routines, facts. In the passive form also, they are used the same way. The present continuous is used to talk about an ongoing action, right? An action that has not completed yet. It has started but has not completed yet. So the same. My car is serviced every 6 months. A routine, repeated action. My car is serviced every 6 months. Computers are used everywhere. Okay, a fact. Passive simple. This is present simple. Computers are used everywhere. Some people might feel a little confused again, not anyone here, I hope, but I'll explain. Computers are used everywhere. It is present simple. Why? Because which form be verb is in? R is the present form. So this is the present simple. Computers are used everywhere. Now look at this. The house is being redecorated at the moment. This is the present continuous. The house is being, the fourth form of be, redecorated at the moment. An activity going on now. Okay, so that is it. And we are going to go back to the unit page and see what activities we are supposed to do now. Okay. Read an interview with Gary Rudd, the football manager. Which question goes with which answer? Well, you have some questions here. Did I share this page with you guys? I don't know. Perhaps no. I only shared the grammar reference with you. Okay. So this guy, Gary Rudd, perhaps we had Gary here. Yes, yeah, Gary. So the football coach. Now there is an interview with him. And you guys are supposed to read the responses, the answers from him, and then match the questions, which question he is answering. So let's do it. The first one has been done for you. I'll give you guys 3 minutes to go through the text quickly, the interview, and decide which question will go where. The first one has been done. How do you get a balance between work and home life? Number 2 seems very easy.
Yes.
Which question?
Do you have any children?
Do you have any children? Let's look at number 3. Don't get me wrong. I love my job. It's challenging and exciting and never know what's going to happen.
Don't you like your job?
Don't you like your job?
Don't you like your job? Okay. Number 4, not much. We don't have a social life these days. I try to switch off when I get home and do stuff around the house, but it's difficult.
Do you and your wife relax at all?
Okay. Yes, everybody, it should be very easy, okay? Because you guys are at that level where I'm not expecting you to struggle. Okay, number 5. She's a very patient lady and she has lots of interest of her own, but yeah.
What does your wife think of?
Yes, very good. And number 6, I don't have an answer to that. I want to leave when the team are doing well.
How long are you going to stay as
How
manager?
long are you
How
going to
long
stay
are
as
you
manager?
going to stay
Right,
as
we're done here very quickly. So let's listen to the audio. The intimate audio 3.3.
Well, it's tricky, but I've been married for 10 years and I've been doing this job for 3 years. And very fortunately, my lovely wife understands how stressful it is. Also, it helps that we live near my work. We have a nice house not far from the football ground.
Do you have any children?
We have 2 kids, twin daughters. Thank goodness they both love football. They often come to watch the matches, but I never seem to have time to do dad-type things with them. My job is so time-consuming. I usually work 6 days out of 7 and always at weekends.
Don't you like your job?
Don't get me wrong, I love my job. It's challenging and exciting. I never know what's going to happen. I like training the lads, they're great guys, but it's often lonely. I enjoyed all my years as a player. I loved all the dressing room chat and socializing after the game. Now I'm not invited to join them.
Do you and your wife relax at all?
Not much. We don't have a social life these days. I try to switch off when I get home and do stuff around the house, but it's difficult. I like doing DIY, but I rarely finish anything. I'm painting the kitchen at the moment. I've been doing it for weeks and it's not finished yet.
What does your wife think about that?
She's a very patient lady and she has lots of interests of her own, but...
How long are you going to stay as manager?
I don't have an answer to that. I want to leave when the team are doing well. I have no idea when that will be. I'm hoping before my marriage ends. Don't worry, I'm joking.
Good to find somebody, joking in the middle of a serious conversation. The question was, how long are you going to stay as manager? Okay. He answers and says, I'm hoping before my marriage ends. Okay. So some people, who are not familiar with this kind of culture misunderstand a lot, because I've spent a lot of time listening to English, observing and consuming the Western culture, I've developed this kind of sense of humor, where I say things which a lot of people who are not familiar with this, they kind of misunderstand. For example, think he's already said that, his wife is very, very understanding, and he's been married for 10 years, and he's been doing this job as manager, football manager, only for 3 years. She's very patient. Still, he mentioned this, I'm hoping before my marriage ends. Do you think there is any chance of that? Because of his work, he's going to divorce, going to
No.
divorce his wife? No, it's unlikely. From what we have listened, from what we have heard in this interview, we can't really say that his marriage is in any sort of danger at all. And still he said this, because a lot of times these things happen, but he's just enjoying it, that it is not the case with him. So that shows his confidence here in his marriage, in his wife, that he is joking like this. And sometimes you say something like this, and people here around me have other ideas, They don't understand that it's your confidence that you say such things.
So in paragraph 3, I like training the let's meaning like.
Yes, I was going to talk about it. I like training the lads. They're great guys. Read it this way. I like training the lads. They're great guys. I like training the lads. Who does he train, Pankri?
The players.
Yeah, and they're boys, right? So
Yeah.
boys are informally referred to as lads. Okay? Got it. Lad is a very casual way of referring to a boy. He's a nice lad. He's a nice lad. Okay? And when he says, I try to switch off when I get home, what does he switch off, Kushi? He says, I try to switch off when I get home. Kushi has fallen asleep.
Switch off from his work.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's about mentally stop thinking about something, then you switch off. For example, something that occupies you. For example, if you have a very, stressful job, then you finish your job and you come home, and it is in your interest if you can successfully switch off. If you keep thinking about all the stress, all the problems at work, then you will not relax. It's necessary. Now that you're at home, you should just enjoy your time with your family. So it's very necessary to switch off. So switch off here is a phrasal verb, which means stop thinking about work. Okay? What else? And the tone he had, now I'm not invited to join them. What was he talking about? Like he's, a manager is more like a teacher, Students don't want the teacher everywhere, they are more comfortable with each other than when the teacher is present. The same is the case with the players, I guess, they don't want the manager there when they're having fun. Okay. So would you like to practice the conversation maybe? Shall I open the rooms? Just, twice, once you ask the question, your friend answers, and then your friend asks the question and you answer. Guys, I would just like to remind you, you guys remember these tense, right? The present perfect. I've been married for 10 years. I've been doing this job for 3 years. One is present perfect simple, and the other is present perfect continuous. Sometimes they both have the same uses, something that has started in the past, an action that has started in the past has continued to this present moment. It might continue in the future. I've been married for 10 years. He got married 10 years ago. I've been doing this job for 3 years. He started doing this job 3 years ago, right? He's still married. He might, and he would most probably continue to be married. And most probably he will continue to do this job for maybe a few more years. If nothing suddenly goes wrong, Very fortunately, my lovely wife understands how stressful it is. So this was my point that I wanted to highlight here. Everything else seems easy. My job is so time consuming. Time consuming is an adjective which describes his job. My job is so time consuming. Okay. ING adjectives often describe things. Okay. My job is boring. My job is interesting. My job is exciting. My job is time consuming. ING adjectives, right? That type things, easy, nothing special here. This is important. I never seem to have time. Notice this pattern, everybody. I never have time. I never seem to have time. Can you compare the two sentences? I never have time. I never seem to have time. How would you compare these two?
I never seem says that I have time.
Uh-huh. Okay. So Khushi, you think I never seem to have time means I have time. Okay.
So
Other
I think uh, here the person who is like telling like they have this opinion about me that I don't have time for them.
Okay, very well tried, Pankuri. I know where you're coming from. Okay. Noelia, Rodrigo, Alejandro, Gonzalo, please. I never seem to have time to do that type things. I never have time to do that type things. How do you compare the two sentences?
I never have time. It's basically like their schedule is like is occupied, and then I never seem is like their personal opinion. Like I don't have time because like I'm doing that, but like they have time, but like, they don't want to say like they don't like they have time to do
Okay.
something.
Well tried, very well tried. Okay. I think all of you kind of understand what you're reading, but when you're describing it, it's going a little bit wrong here. Okay, let me explain. You know, when you say I never have time, you sound more assertive and direct. Okay. And when you say I never seem to have time, you kind of sound a little, I will say, indirect, and you soften your tone by using the word seem here. Okay. So, like somebody will, a wife who is, complaining to her husband, she will be more direct. You never have time for me. Okay. Because she wants to be more assertive about it. So she'll say, you never have time for me. And this is how she's making an accusation. Right. But then when you put the word seem there, it softens your tone. Okay. You never seem to have time for me. Now she's still complaining, but not with that kind of intensity. You understand what I mean? So when you put the word seem there, then it suddenly becomes not that assertive, not that direct. You are suggesting that. Okay. But not being 100% like you never have time for me. You never seem to have time for me. She's still complaining, but again, less assertive, less direct, less intense. So he is sick. He is sick. All right, we are saying he's sick. He seems to be sick now. Okay, less direct, less assertive. You still have the same feeling, but you make it sound tentative. You make it sound tentative. He seems to be sick. This is preferable in certain situations where you don't want to be so assertive, so intense in your statement. So you're nobody to say he is sick. Maybe he seems to be sick. Okay, like that. You don't seem to be paying attention today. A friendly teacher who doesn't want to be very, very direct, in his criticism will say, you don't seem to be very focused today. And then another teacher might say, who comes across more assertive, you're not paying attention today. Compare. You are not paying attention. This sounds more assertive, authoritative. If the teacher wants to soften his tone, let's say he is not teaching very young kids, he is teaching someone his age. Okay, and he wants to acknowledge that. He doesn't want to sound very controlling. Okay, then how will he soften his tone using the word seem here? Everybody.
Not seem to paying attention today.
Can you say you not seem? Is it possible in English to say you not seem?
Sorry. uh,
You are
you seem
not saying.
You can't say you not seem, Pankari. That's the
Oh.
basic mistake, beta.
Yeah,
You don't
you don't
seem
seem to paying attention.
paying because here notice you are not paying. It is continuous, so you need to
Okay,
be
yeah,
in the continuous.
to be plus.
Continuous. You want to show continue. You don't seem to be paying attention today. I'll give you more practice, don't worry. Let me give another sentence. They have arrived. Okay. Now they have arrived is like 100% certain they have arrived. Okay, but you are suggesting that perhaps this is the case, because you believe this is the case. Then you'll say they go on, everyone.
They have seem to be arrived.
Seem is used in the simple tense, okay? They seem
To be arrived, okay.
I'm trying to help you understand how this structure works. Everybody, they seem to have arrived. They seem to have arrived. They have arrived compares with they seem to have arrived. Okay? This is what you are supposed to say, not they seem to be arrived. To be arrived doesn't make sense here, Pankri. They seem to have arrived. So notice to be paying, to have arrived. These are different forms of infinitive. Because the sentence was you're not paying attention today, so you do not seem. Remember, seem is used in the simple tense. So you don't seem, you seem, okay? Understand? And after that, you acknowledge the tense of the sentence. Because it is a present continuous, so you keep it in the continuous form to be paying attention. Be paying attention. And because it is the present perfect, they seem, and then you use the perfect infinitive. They seem to have arrived. Let me give you another sentence, guys. She was tired. She was tired. You sound certain when you say she was tired, direct. But you want to sound a little tentative, not that certain, okay? And that's why you want to use the word seem. So how do you use it? What do you say? She, come on, with the verb seem. First, because it is a past tense, so you need seem in the past form. Everybody understands. In the first two examples, they were in the present tense. So you don't seem, they seem in the present simple. Because she was tired is in the past, so seem needs to be in the past as well. She seemed to be tired. She seemed to be tired. Gonzalo has started to observe the patterns here. Some more. They were going somewhere. You have to say this with seem. They
They were
First of all,
seen.
you are not getting that point. Seem is only used in the simple tense. So, because it is the past tense, so they seemed.
They seemed to be going
Exactly.
somewhere.
Exactly. You are not acknowledging my help. My first point was seem is used in the simple tense. So if the statement, whatever you are saying is in the present, seems should be in the present tense, present simple. And if you are talking about the past time, seems should be in the past simple. First point. Second, after seem, you need to use to infinitive. Now, to infinitive can be in the continuous form, perfect form to denote different tenses. Here, they seem to be going somewhere. To be going, they seem to be going somewhere. This can be very tricky, I know, they seem to be going somewhere, which means perhaps they were going somewhere. Okay, they seem to be going somewhere means perhaps they were going somewhere. She seemed to be tired. Perhaps she was tired. This is what it sounds. So she was tired, very direct, very assertive, very certain, very direct, the intensity is more there. You're not leaving any space for another situation, the case to be wrong, okay? No, she was tired, okay? Direct, she was tired. She seemed to be tired. Now you're leaving a little bit of, window there. Maybe you're wrong, maybe she was not, but she seemed that way, okay? So she seemed to be tired. We are using to be tired here because we are saying she was tired. I had this won't be nice. They had stolen the money. They had stolen the money. Now, this is very, very direct, assertive. They had stolen the money. But if you want to sound a little less confident, less direct, less certain, you want to sound a little tentative, you'll say they. Can you tell me the second word at least, Pankari?
Seemed.
Perfect. You got there. Okay. So first thing is clear that seem can be used in the simple tenses, present simple, past simple. Okay. Now they seemed. Now here had stolen it is now had stolen. They had stolen. So you will say they seem to have stolen because it is the perfect infinitive. You need the perfect infinitive to refer to the perfect tense, They seem to have stolen the money. So basically, the to infinitive form depends on what tense you want to indicate. Okay, time seem tells you whether it is the present time or the past time. Okay, because if you use seem in the present simple form, it refers to the present time. If you use seemed in the past form, it refers to the past time. But which tense? The simple tense, the continuous tense, or the perfect tense? So there are three options here. I'm trying to, if you guys want, take a screenshot of what is on your screen so that you can maybe revise later. And I'm going to write here for you, to do, to be doing, and to have done. Now take a look at these three options. Can you correspond these phrases to their tenses? To do will correspond to the present simple, not present, simple tense. And to be doing will correspond to the continuous. And to have done will correspond to the perfect. Just because of the verb forms, you can understand that, right? And keeping this in mind, I would ask you guys to, change some sentences into more tentative ways of saying. For example, they were in Love. They were in love with each other. I am directly saying they were in love with each other, right? But if I'm not that, don't want to be that assertive, then I will use seem, of course. The way they talked,
They seemed to be in love with each other.
exactly. Well done, Pankuri. Finally, you got it, okay? The way they talked, finally, I'm saying, the way they talked, they seemed because it is in the past tense, they seemed to be in love with each other. The way they talked, they seemed to be in love with each other. I'm not really saying 100%, confidently, like, they were in love. I'm just suggesting that that was the case, perhaps, right? They seemed, the way they sounded, the way they talked, they seemed to be in love with each other. Seem to be in love. But if the sentence is different, like they were struggling in their marriage, now
They seemed to be struggling in their marriage.
exactly. Okay. How does it feel, Pankri, when you are not sure about how something works and after a few minutes you start to get it right? And do you understand what you're saying? It makes sense now why you are saying it this way? Or just because I'm asking you to?
No, I
Okay.
understand.
Yeah, good. That is when you're less likely to forget. If you're just repeating something because I'm asking you to, and it doesn't make sense to you personally, then you will not be able to remember it for long. They seem to be struggling in their marriage. Okay. So why did I not write anything with I? There was a sentence I was writing with I, right? But it's less likely that you don't know what you're feeling. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible to use I as well, but you make assumption about other people. You make observations about other people, and you want to talk about them without being very direct, tentatively. Tentative. I hope you guys appreciate the word tentative. Less certain, tentative. Okay. Tentative means less certain, less assertive, okay? Not so confident, tentative. Not very confident. It's the opposite of the word confident, tentative. So the word seem allows you to sound tentative. In some cases, you want to sound tentative because otherwise you will sound rude. The students have not done their homework. The students haven't done their homework. Now, the teacher walks into the class, starts talking about the topic, and then he feels the students are not responding the way they should. Perhaps the students have not done their homework, right? So he will suggest, there is a problem, Khushi. Khushi, you have not noticed that thing. After to, we use V1. Khushi, you have been writing sentences, but there are mistakes, Vita. You have to understand. They seem to had stored in the. We can't say to had. 2 plus V1. Notice here. To do, to be doing, to have done. After to, there is always V1. Do is V1, be is V1, have is V1. To do, to be doing, to have done.
So it's haven't, na?
No, but still, your sentence, the students haven't done their homework. Everybody, I'm asking you all to use the chat box and tell me how you will express it with the verb seem. It's more appropriate to say the students don't seem, because it's a negative sentence. Yes, Pankri, the students don't seem to have done their homework. That's perfect. So you can't say has or anything, that's not the point. The students don't seem to have done their homework. Another option is the students seem not to have done their homework, but this sounds less, I will say it's a little different. The students don't seem to have done their homework sounds more natural, but you can have this option. The students seem not to have done their homework. Got it? So the nuances can be a little different, that's all, but basically they are the same thing. Okay, so
Sir, I'm not getting what's the issue with have like in example 2, this seems to have error.
Teacher, how can I write the seem in negative form?
don't seem,
Don't seem
don't
or
seem.
seem not is the same?
No, yeah, the nuances can be different.
Okay.
Understand.
No.
I don't want you to go there. I don't want you to go there. I want you not to go there. See the difference? Nuances. In both the cases, you shouldn't go there. That is what is going to make me happy. Okay? I don't want you to go there. I want you not to go there. Now, this is more, I will say, this is stronger now. I want you not to go there. I want you not to go there. And I don't want you to go there. I want the same thing. Okay? But the nuances are slightly different. The second one, I want you not to go there, sounds more, I will say, sounds stronger. I want you not to go there. This is what I want. I don't want you to go there. It's like the difference between, I don't have anything to eat and I have nothing to eat. I don't have anything to eat. Okay? I have nothing to eat. So this I have nothing to eat sounds more, I will say, direct, more, it sounds stronger, more emphatic. So similarly, the nuances change slightly when you say, I want you not to talk to him. Notice, Noelia, you have a friend and you are very possessive about him, okay? And he is talking to a girl and you say, listen, I want you not to talk to her. I want you not to talk to her, okay? Now this sounds more, I will say, emphatic. I want you not to talk to her, okay? And then I don't want you to talk to her. This is like, smooth, easy, no problems, but it becomes more emphatic when you say, I want you not to talk to him or talk to her. So in both the cases, you want that friend of yours to be away from that girl, but in this, when you say, I want you not to talk to her, sounds more emphatic a little bit. So I said the nuances are slightly different. And I'm glad that you asked this question because, yes, this question confuses all the learners, because there are two negatives possible.
So, also like in sentence number 4, like they had stolen the money and they seem to have stolen the money. So here we are not changing like the tense.
Yes,
of
seemed suggested that it will be past, and to have stolen suggests that it will be perfect.
Okay.
So together, past perfect. You getting it?
Yeah.
Compare this one. then you'll understand easily. Could she ask your question? I'm here to help you. She is tired and she was tired. Okay? Compare these two. The tense is the same, right? Time is different. Tense is the same. Time is different. Tense is simple, right? But time is different. Present simple, past simple. So she's tired. We go with she seems to be tired. Okay. And then she was tired. We say she seemed to be
tired.
To be tired is the same in both the sentences because the tense is the same. Time is different. So we say she seems and she seemed. So in the present continuous also, you will have to be doing something, but seem and seemed will be different. In the perfect sentence, you will have to have done something. And for present, it will be seem or seems, and in past, it will be seemed. I guess, yes, Noelia, that's right as well. What you have written, the students seem not to have done their homework. Absolutely correct, no problems. The students seem not to have done their homework. Okay. It appears that they did not do their homework, okay, or they haven't done their homework. So this is good. I guess you guys will take a screenshot of this and maybe spend a few minutes, practicing a little. I have written some sentences here. You guys can maybe, write them with this verb seem here. I never seem to have time for them. I never seem to have time to do that type of things with them. Okay. Don't get me wrong. This is a good expression in English. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This is very, very, very common. Very common. Don't get me wrong. It means don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying something else. You're getting a different perception. Don't get me wrong. I love my job because in the previous response to the question, he said, my job is so time consuming. I don't have time to do data things with my children. I work 6 days out of 7, always at weekends. So these things can be taken as complaints, whining. And that's why she asked, don't you like a job? Don't get me wrong. I love my job. Okay, I'm just telling you, this is the reality. It's challenging and exciting. I never know what's going to happen. I like training the lads. Lads is an informal way of referring to boys. And similarly, there is another word for girls, lads and lasses. Lads and lasses, okay? Lads and lasses. I think this word exists in another language as well, lad. I can't recall, but it is there in another European language. Lads and lasses. Lasses.
Lasses.
Lads and lasses, boys and girls, lads and lasses, okay? It is colloquial, informal, okay? But it's often lonely. Lonely, it's often lonely. Lonely and alone, never confuse them, okay? What's the difference between lonely and alone? How do you decide? Both of them suggest the same thing, not having company.
Alone means it's my choice that I'm alone.
Okay.
And lonely means I'm feeling lonely,
right. So we can simply say lonely has an association with sadness. Alone doesn't. Yeah. Alone is neutral. Okay. Alone is neutral. It just states the situation. I'm living alone. Okay. It means I don't have anybody with me, but it doesn't suggest that I'm sad about it. But when I say I am lonely, then it says I'm sad. So lonely has an association with sadness. Okay. It's often lonely. The job is often lonely. You don't have anybody to talk about your problems. You are a manager, you just have to handle things. But when you are stressed out, you don't have anybody to talk to about it. So the job is often lonely. Why? Look, the players have other players, to be with, to talk to. But as a manager, it's difficult for you, to share so much, right? You have to have your own other, maybe we call it stress coping mechanism, you need to develop that. I enjoyed all my years as a player. I loved all the dressing room chat, socializing after the game. This is a good word, socialize, to make friends, to be with people, socialize. We don't have a social life. Another way of socializing, I don't socialize much. I don't have a very big social life. I don't have much of a social life. Okay. Notice this one. I'm painting the kitchen at the moment. I'm painting the kitchen at the moment. First, he says, I'm painting the kitchen. It means he has not finished it. He says, I've been doing it for weeks. I've been doing it for weeks. And it is not finished yet. The present perfect continuous. I've been doing it for weeks and it's not finished yet. Fine. So I think we will wrap up and let me give you homework for tomorrow. I'm sharing a page and an audio file. You guys are going to listen to 3.5 and do the exercises. 3.5. So let's end the class for today. We'll continue, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Bye, teacher.
See
See
you,
you tomorrow.
teacher.
Sir.